everyone. It's your boy Randy Stress. And once again, welcome to the Stress-Free Zone. As you know, this is a show that lets you meet celebrities and athletes on a more personal level. Today, I have someone that has so many hats. Look, I'm going to hold the card up to read this. Author, writer, director, producer, actor, fight coordinator. All right. And there's more. But we'll get into the more later on. Everyone, welcome Jillian Bullock to the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Yay.
You have worn some hats. Like you have worn some hats. I'm going to talk about some of these other ones in a minute. I'm going to kick you off like I always do. I always start my show off with the one question to make it a little different. And it's always, what do you want people to know about you?
I want people to know that I am a survivor, someone who came from a victim to a victor, who was kicked down many times, who was able to pull myself up by my bootstraps and to maintain my faith and hard work in order to achieve my dreams. And some of those dreams are what you read on your card. Yeah, so.
I normally don't read them, but this one I was like, man, that's a lot of hats. I didn't want to mess that up. I have a good memory, but certain things you just don't want to mess up. So I figured I'd do it the right way. And you're coming to us from the state of Pennsylvania.
Yep, Philadelphia.
I actually used to live in Manayunk, so
okay.
I know Philadelphia very well. I used to ride my bike along Kelly Drive all the time, get my exercise.
Yep.
I had a great time out there. I'm going to ask you, I know you're a mother of 3.
Yes.
You've accomplished a lot being a mother of 3 because you worked for the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
Tell me what it was like being a woman working for the Wall Street Journal.
Well, you know what? I came in as an intern and I had to work my way up because at the time I was still in college and everybody else who worked there had master degrees. So I was just, little old me on the totem pole. Right. Started off as an intern, then moved up to a news assistant, then moved up to a reporter. So it took some years. And it was a very diverse environment. I was surprised because the bureau chief was Frank Allen. He was a white guy, but he did have a lot of diversity, which I was surprised about, especially during that time in the 80s, 90s, the 90s, I should say. And we had Hispanics and African American, and I just learned from them, and I learned the do's and don'ts and everything. The Wall Street Journal is a very conservative type newspaper. So I had to learn, and it took a lot because of my past. I didn't come from an educated type environment. I came from the streets. So to segue into like corporate America and the Wall Street Journal was a big, big change for me.
Okay, I get that. And there's nothing wrong with coming from the streets that way, because sometimes you come in with a point of view that they didn't even think about because you're seeing it as a more rounded individual because you've been on this side and that side, and it gives you both. And I personally think that makes it a lot better for you. I am going to ask you this one question because I was curious to know how long you worked with him. You started as an intern with Spike Lee on Malcolm X. What was that like?
It was very difficult because we didn't get paid. I was coming from Philadelphia. I had to travel to New York, and you got no reimbursement. You got lunch, but nothing else. And I had 3 kids I had to take care of, so it was very stressful. Spike was stressed on the movie set. He was running out of money. He had to. The studios was threatening to take the movie away from him. So he had to go to his Hollywood friends and like Michael Jordan and all the other big wigs he was hanging around. He had to ask for more money. And so it was very stressful on the set at times because he was dealing with a lot of stress too. So, but you learn. I learned things I would do on a set when I became a director, things I wouldn't do on the set. And it was a good learning experience.
But yeah, that sounds like fun. I always wondered what it would be like working with him. I hope to get him on this show at some point myself. Um,
Hmm.
I'm going to ask you, what helped you believe in your own work and talent?
Well, I grew up with my mom and my white stepfather who was in the mafia, the Italian mafia.
Right?
And yeah, and you have to say one thing about the mafia: they have a strong work ethic, strong work ethic,
Yeah,
and it is a business. Everybody just thinks about the killing part, but
right.
it still is a business. And he taught me how to work hard and how to you know have my dreams and my goals and how to put the work in, the time in, and be disciplined and focused. Um, and I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot. I always went to the movies with him every Sunday. He's the one that instilled in me that one day I would become a filmmaker. That was his dream. Yeah. So I just kept at it. Through the years, trying to raise kids, work, and then to fulfill my dreams and fulfill his dream as to become a filmmaker.
Okay, I'm glad to see you fulfill that dream. So that's actually dope. One of
Yeah.
your personal quotes, which I love from the second that I read it, was, "Your past does not dictate what your future will be." Where did you come up with that?
Basically, my life, because like after my stepfather died and my mom got with a new guy and he was very abusive, and uh, we went to Florida and I ended up homeless after he was beating her up one day and I got involved. I got in between them and I beat him up because I had a black belt in Taekwondo at the time. My mom didn't appreciate me helping her in that way because I busted his nose and she kicked me out. So I'm in Florida all alone,
Uh,
homeless, had nowhere to go, didn't know what to do. Ended up involved in drugs and prostitution. And when I got pregnant, and I said I had to find a way to get off the streets and get clean for my unborn child. So, all the odds were against me when I had a kid. By the time I had a kid, I was 16, going back to school, high school. And everybody just kind of society, family, friends, everybody said, you're not going to amount to anything because you are a drug addict, you're a prostitute, you have a baby as a teenager. And they said my son wasn't definitely going to amount to anything as a young black male. He's
wow.
definitely going to end up in the streets, either dead or on drugs or in prison. So that's why I came up with that quote, because I said I became successful. My son, who was born premature at 2 months because I was on drugs when I had him. Now he's Dr. Clinton Bullock. He
Ooh,
speaks
I
five
love that.
languages.
I
Yeah, he
love
speaks
that.
5 languages. He's a life coach. He makes 6 figures a year, and he's doing his thing. But everybody else just said, he wasn't gonna be nothing. I wasn't gonna be anything. So we proved them wrong. So
I love to hear stories of triumph because I mean we've all known people who've fallen down, and I've fallen down. We've all fallen down, and
right,
it's so horrible how we're so quick to write people off without sticking your hand out to see if you can help first. So
right,
the fact that you did everything that you did just says so much about your strength, so much about your character, so much about everything that you learned from your stepdad, and I'm glad that he was there to teach you that because that's probably why you were able to push through everything and just get it to where you are now. You kind of answered one of the questions that I was going to ask you. I'm going to tell you what the question is because it's funny.
okay.
It's, tell me about the time you faced insurmountable odds, yet you persevered to overcome it. So it was perfect. When I saw, I was like, man, that was the question right there. So I'm loving that. So I'm going to go to this question and ask you, what is one dream you've achieved that you're most proud of, and why?
Well, I was the first one in my immediate family to go to college and get a degree. I was the first one, even though I was the baby of my siblings. I was the first one to go to college.
Okay.
There's a couple of things, obviously working for the Wall Street Journal after coming off of the streets, drug addict, prostitute, working for the Wall Street Journal.
Right.
That was huge. I was working for them when I graduated from college. Even though it took me 11 years to finish college, I didn't quit.
And that's the most important part.
Didn't quit. But the most important, I think, would be raising my three children. All of them are successful. You know, usually you have one bad kid in the bunch somewhere. You got a black sheep. All three of my children are, like I said, my firstborn is Dr. Clinton Bullock. My second son, he works in Hollywood for the TV show The Talk, Andre. He's a producer. Producing shows. He's acting. My youngest daughter, she bought her first house when she was 23 by herself.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's in the financial banking world. All of them are very successful, educated, good kids. I never had problems with them. Hey, three wonderful, amazing, productive, successful children. There you go.
On behalf of Black folk everywhere, I'd like to say thank you so much for proving that we can overcome anything we want to overcome. And I wish your children much more success, and I wish you much success, because I just love this kind of stuff. It's beautiful to me. So I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to go into the fact that you are, I should say, a former competitive boxer and martial artist.
Right.
With 2 black belts.
Right. 2 black belts. One in Taekwondo and one in Wing Chun.
So what got you into that?
Well, I was raped when I was 10.
Oh.
Yeah, I was raped when I was 10. And needless to say, the only person I told was my stepfather. So we know what happened there to the rapist.
Right.
Yeah. So I said, you know what? I never want to be a victim again. So the only way I knew not to do that is to become a martial artist and to learn how to defend myself. So that's why I started taking up martial arts.
Okay. I mean, it's definitely a good reason to do it. I'm still sorry about that. That's
Right.
a terrible way for it to go.
Right.
I don't want to skip this part, because I know I'm a veteran. I served in the Army, and I was honorably discharged. And I have friends who actually still suffer from PTSD. So I want to ask you about your latest film.
Right.
And I love the fact that it not only focuses on PTSD, which is very serious, it also focuses on sexual assault, which is more common than most people know in the military. So
yeah,
talk a little bit about that.
The movie is called A Sense of Purpose, Fighting for Our Lives. And like you said, it deals with veterans, PTSD, and military sexual assault. It's like you said, it's an epidemic that's happening in the military, with men and women being raped or sexually assaulted. More men actually than women, because there are more men in the military. So people don't know that.
That I did know, because most men won't talk about it.
Right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no. So even though it is inspired by true events, obviously it's it's still a fictional movie. It's a feature film, because I had to. It's not a documentary, so you still have to have some exciting, compelling entertainment elements to it. But the overall story is basically that I'm trying to drive home is that the military needs to do a better job of handling the situation, because men and women don't go into the military to be raped or sexually assaulted. That's not their job to be. They try to protect the country and protect other lands, and they got to deal with being in the foxhole with the person that sexually assaulted them the day before. That's hard.
I mean, we dealt with that. We dealt with racism in the military. We dealt with, because you got the good old boys. We had officers who felt they could say whatever they want, do whatever they want. And we took care of a couple of people. I'm not going to say how, because I don't want the military to come back at me. But we took care of our fair share of people to teach them. We didn't kill anybody before anybody goes crazy. We just,
all right.
They realized, oh, okay, there's a line. But unfortunately, there's not enough people who band together to stop it. So because of that, because you have people who are so afraid of what's going to happen. Oh, he's a colonel, and oh, he's an officer. And you have people who are afraid of what's going to happen to their career. I went in at 17, so I gave a damn. It's like, hold on, who are you talking to? And I start my life over. I had that mentality. So it's good to see you putting, and I don't mean to laugh at this, but it's good to see you putting this in the public light, because it's important. It really is. There are so many people hurting in the military. I mean, I went in at 17 and I had men coming at me all the time. I actually got into a couple of fights because they're thinking we got this little boy to himself. And then they found out, oh, he's from the south side of Chicago and got hands.
Oh
So,
no.
oh, okay. And then they left me alone. They went on to wherever else they were going to go. So I definitely have seen it. You know, I've seen it. I've seen people, you know, I'm fortunately one of those people who would not stand by and watch it. So they typically didn't do anything around me because they knew I was going to get involved. And you have a lot of guys who do get involved. And unfortunately, the way the military is set up, the officer has the final say. So if I caught him doing something to a girl and I beat the hell out of him, I'm in trouble first before he's for the act,
definitely,
which is a horrible way to run the military. But that's the way it's set up. It's them first and then everything after that because they don't want to game. But what about the people who are serving hard, trying to stay in this? So
right, yeah, I know.
Look, let me get off of that. I'm going to ask a question to kind of lighten this up a little bit because we've been going for a while. So, as a mixed martial artist and a former competitive boxer, what is the dumbest way you've been injured?
Oh, I've been injured. It wasn't dumb, but I was wrestling. I was up in Allentown wrestling with the family of The Rock, the Dwayne Johnson. They have a family. You know, I don't know if you know wrestling. With Alpha and Sika, Rikishi. Yeah. All those are the family members of the Dwayne. Well, his uncle Alpha and Sika used to be the Wild Samoan wrestlers, tag team champions. They have a school up in Allentown. I was up there training. And, I broke a couple of ribs because I didn't kick out right. I got body slammed, and you're supposed to absorb the shock on the upper back. So you have to kick your legs up high to do that. Well, fearful of falling back, I didn't kick out right. I ended up with broken ribs. The ambulance came, had to take me to the hospital. And it was embarrassing because I'm in there and the paramedic is with the mask on my face and he's asking me, "Can you get me the Rock's autograph?" But I got the oxygen on my back. The paramedic was asking, "Can you get me the Rock's autograph?" I was like, "Really, dude?"
You're like right now.
Right. I'm in pain with broken ribs and you asking me this stupid question.
My God, I can imagine. I've bruised my ribs and had a hard time breathing. So I can imagine broken ribs. You trying to hear him. Could you get an autograph? Like, man, if you don't get me to the hospital.
If you don't get the right.
I'll have a broken rib too.
That was horrible.
I love that. I'm getting down to the 3-minute mark, but I wanted to ask you, if you could have a conversation with anyone, famous or not, living or not, who would it be?
It probably would be Oprah, you know. Well, all right. There we go. Oprah.
Oprah's not a bad one to talk to. I definitely would see why, because I mean she literally dug herself up from nothing to
right. Yeah. So, you know, I'm trying to ease my way in there so she could turn my life story to a feature film.
There you go. There you go. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I'm a screenwriter myself, so I would to love to see that. So what would you ask Oprah?
I would just basically say, listen, let's partner up with this amazing story of a young African-American woman who raised by her white stepdaddy who was in the mob. That's never been done before.
Right.
And it's a true story. Then it goes on to me being in the streets and overcoming all that adversity and having that child, and who we could fast forward to now, who's Dr. Clinton Bullock.
Right.
See, I would just pitch it to her just like that.
There's nothing wrong with the raw pitch. I mean, if I had the opportunity, I'd do the same thing. Who got time for all of this? You only got a couple seconds with it. You got to get those bullet points out like, give her a chance. You might catch it with the right question when she goes,
"What?"
And that's all you need is that what?
That's all. That one little sliver inch in there.
Got her.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that at all. I definitely.
I said, listen, I got the memoir, I got the book is already published, and I have the screenplay. Let's do this.
There you go. You already got a good start right there. Look, I'm going to put the energy out. Come on, people. If you know Oprah, push Oprah over to this woman, help her out. She got a story to tell, a good story to tell. Right now, I guess I'm down to the 2-minute warning. My producers let me know. This time went so fast. We had such a great conversation. It's hard to believe we've been talking for a half hour already.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, a half hour. So right now, I guess I can't ask you another question because she's going to get me because it's going to take a long I just wanted to let you know it was great having you on the show. I really enjoyed you. I didn't get a chance to talk about your memoirs. Here I stand, but I felt like I got a piece of it through the conversation that we had. So that's good. I still wish you the best of luck. We're going to get Oprah
Thank
to
you.
you at some point. We're going to figure out how to do that. And because me as a writer, Oprah's not my person only because of the stuff that I write. I'll have to find, someone doing something different. But I'm about to wrap this up.
Okay.
And everyone, I hope you had a great time on the Stress. I hope you had a really good time. People, remember, as I tell you all the time, remain stress-free, take life easy, enjoy the little things, take that deep breath and let it go. Life is too short for all of the bullshit. Really.
All right.
You guys have a blessed rest of your day. Stress-free zone, we out.